meditations, what, 5 or 7 minutes? And the topic is not your friend. Let's follow somebody a bit.
Not your
What are
friend.
you doing, man?
He's valid. I'll do you as well.
Evaluate vests. I want you to imagine for a moment that everything that you know about is like a little dot in your head. And everything that you know about is like a little dot in your head. And all the things that you know about are like little dots in your head. All the lessons you learned, all the information is like a little dot. Sounds strange, I know, just stay with me. And everything I know about, which is from a different field, same as you, from different life experiences, different upbringing, are also like little dots in my head. Now, here's the interesting thing. Through stories, metaphors, examples, demonstrations, we begin to connect the dots. My dots to your dots, my dots to your dots. All these little connections happen. And if we make enough connections, through stories, examples, quotes, metaphors, whatever, then eventually the hidden picture begins to emerge, or what the message is you're trying to get across. So, this kind of came to me when I had an experience. I was driving down Epping Road just a few kilometres from here. And as I went past, just over the hill, past the traffic lights, I caught myself for the first time in years, for those of you who don't know my story, free from anxiety. When I was 19 years of age, I had crippling anxiety, low self-esteem, very insecure. So I started reading, studying, and learning everything I could, just adding to all the little dots, making all those connections. And eventually I made a certain connection, which is really powerful. Now some of you think, I still don't get the connection thing. Well, it's very simple. The main point I want to get to you that I learned that made a big difference in my life is this. Your mind, believe it or not, your mind is not your friend. Your mind is not your friend. Now some of you are thinking, what? That kind of goes contrary to popular belief. Well, I'll give you an example. I was sitting in my car this one time and I had a really clear picture of what I wanted to do with my life. The purpose kind of came out of my own inner experiences. And this purpose was to share this information that I've learned with today's youth. Because today's youth, from my point of view, it's like they're trapped in an emotional prison of anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, guilt, trauma, stress, body image and self-image confusion. And this inner kind of entrapment, if you will, results in a desperation. Desperation to escape. And desperation is like being doused in petrol, you see? When we live in a world of matches like alcohol, drugs, negative influences. It only takes the contact with one of these matches to have devastating consequences. So parents become frustrated with this because they don't know what to do. Think of an engine for a moment. Think of an engine. Now, a normally functioning engine begins to become abnormal and dysfunctional when you run stuff through it that's not supposed to go through it. When you take junk, for instance, or garbage, and you run it through the engine over and over and over and over again, eventually what's going to happen is this normally functioning engine is going to start to show signs of being dysfunctional. Started normal, ended up not normal. It's the same with the human mind. From a young age, the young child has a normal piece of machinery upstairs, right? But as they go through life, all the media, all the experiences, all the negativity keeps being run through their mind over and over and over and over again. And unfortunately, they start out with a normal mind, meaning the machinery is normally intact, but as they go through life, it eventually becomes dysfunctional because of the constant negativity, the constant bombardment of the negativity from the world. So, my main purpose in life is to really offset this to the best of my ability. Share what I've learned with young people to create an inner immunity, if you will. Now, what does that mean, an inner immunity? Well, how do you get an immunity against, like, a flu or something? Well, you get a little shot, don't you? A little shot of it. And when you come up against the flu, the full thing, the full-blown thing in the world, your system's ready for it. Well, I found the same thing is true when it comes to psychologically creating an immunity within yourself so that it can defend against the negativity of the world. How do you do that? How do you do that? Some of you, what I'm saying may have gone over your head, but that's okay. You can catch it and you can look at it again. You can catch it, put it in your ear. So if it goes over you, it doesn't matter. We'll eventually get it somehow. We'll get it. I remember this one time I'm sitting in my car, I had this clear picture of what I wanted to do to offset this damage that happens in young adults, to create a greater freedom within them so that they don't have to feel like they're desperate to escape from their inner trauma. So I'm sitting in this car with this great idea of what I want to do in my life. I'm absolutely certain. My hair's flicking all over the place. And I said, I've got to do this. I've got to do this with my life. And I was certain, I was ready. I've done a study, I've got experience, and I was ready. I've got nothing to lose, right? What's the worst thing that can happen? I look stupid. So well. So I said to myself, okay, I'm going to do this. So, and then I thought about something else. I put my key in the ignition, and as I went to turn the ignition, my mind flung up an idea into my awareness. Out of nowhere, I'd never thought of this idea before. It said, what if you're not good enough? That's what my mind said. I was like, taken aback. So where did that come from? Absolutely shocked me. I took my key out of the ignition, I sat back in my chair, and I said, you know what? I took that idea and I said, let's find out. Let's find out. Let's see what this soul can do. You see, you never listen to your mind as to what you're capable of, because the moment you set a goal, any goal, whether to win a championship with bike racing, or whether to ask a girl out, or whatever, a guy out, whatever goal you set for yourself, as soon as you set the goal, in my experience, it brings up its opposite. Really important to realize this. Why does it do that? Because your mind is not your friend. Think about it. If you say, I'm going to run around a track, it's like you say, I'm going to run around a track. The second you say, I'm going to run around a track, the second you say that, the hurdles appear, don't they? It's the same with a goal. You say, I'm going to lose weight, and now the mind goes, you can't do that. I'm going to write a book, oh, you can't do that. I'm going to public speak, oh, you look like an idiot. Whatever it is, the moment you set a goal, the mind brings up its opposite. Remember that, it's so important. Whatever it is, I'm going to ask for a pay rise, oh, what happens if my boss says you say? Whatever it is, the mind, when you set a goal, brings up its opposite, because, very simply, your mind is not your friend. I was at home, and I was sitting there thinking about this, and my mind was really beating me up one day, and I said to myself, mind, let's get one thing straight. I am your master, and you are not mine. My mind didn't say anything. I said, good, now get back to work. So when you sit down, your mind's giving you hard times, just say that one little thing. I know I don't have all the answers, but one thing I know for sure is that when you focus on your mind, you simply say this, say your mind next time, try it out for me. Mind, I am your master, you are not mine. And you'll notice it will become tamer, not as unruly. Try this out and you'll see that your mind's not changed.